What's up, guys? I know it's been a while since I've made a video here. Today I'm going to talk about 3 different pistols. Fix that. Okay, so I'm kind of making this video on the fly. It's something I've been wanting to make for a while, and now is a good time to do it. So anyway, as the title of this video states, I'm a fairly new shooter, but I would say that in kind of a relative sense. I've shot guns since I was like 13. Haven't had a lot of experience with rifles or anything like that until recently. I mean, with the exception of like a 22, and I'd shoot, like a 30-06 here and there, some family members' guns. But anyway, that's not important. But anyway, I wanted to talk about these 3 pistols here. What you're looking at is a Shadow Systems MR920 Elite, a Staccato P, and a Walther PDP Pro. And basically, I just wanted to talk about some of the pros and cons of these pistols. If you're a relatively new shooter and you're kind of deciding, trying to decide what you'd like to get. So take everything with a grain of salt. I try to do as much research on a firearm as I can before I make the decision to buy one, with the exception of this guy right here. So I want to start with this one because this is currently my carry gun. So again, go over some of the pros and cons of them, just to give you a feel of what these pistols are somewhat like. Now, there's no shooting footage in this video because I just don't have the time to do that right now, and I don't have any fancy editing software or anything like that. So it's just going to be a subjective opinion. I guess opinions are subjective, but anyway, so let's start out here. So prior to owning this firearm, I never had experience shooting a Glock. I never even held a Glock. I always thought they were kind of ugly, chunky. I grew up on a 1911. That's what my dad always had, and he's had numerous ones. I've had numerous 1911s. I still have a 1911. I don't have it here with me today, but so anyway, this was completely new to me. So I came across this pistol on the internet, on YouTube, and I thought, damn, that looks like an amazing gun. And so one thing that I'll say about this gun, I went to my local store and they had one, is I don't think there's anything that I can fault on the aesthetics of this pistol. This thing, in my opinion, is gorgeous. I mean, I just think no matter what angle you look at this thing from, very well thought out in design. It's having a little trouble focusing here. It's kind of focusing on the background rather than this. But anyway, I just think the amount of detail that went into this pistol is amazing. I love everything about the way this gun looks. It's fairly light. I mean, it is light. It fits my hand perfectly. Now, I'm not going to go over everything about these pistols because there's plenty of videos on YouTube about all these videos. I just want to give, again, kind of reiterating what I said earlier, my opinion on these pistols from a relatively new shooter or a new shooter's perspective, or my thoughts and opinions on it. So anyway, a few things I'll go over on this one is I was used to a 1911. That's what I had prior to this and still have. Compared to the grip on the 1911, this grip is pretty chunky. I mean, it's like rectangular with a little bit of rounded edges, where 90-degree edges would be otherwise on a rectangle, or a brick, I should say. But I love the way this feels in my hand, despite there not really being any contours, like finger swells or anything, or, bumps back here like Glocks have, which coincidentally you can change this back strap out with a Glock style. Because essentially this is a Glock, just a fancy Glock, for lack of a better explanation or description. But Anyway, yeah, love this. I love the serrations. It's got a little dip here that, you know, if you want to do your press checks, if I can catch that, your hand just fits in there so nice to do that. You know, I love the color of the barrel, the design, these thumb ledges here, even though they're fairly small. I mean, it's a very minimal ledge, but it's nice to have that stippling here to have your thumb rest against, or your finger when your finger's not on the trigger. I love the optics cut and the fact that you don't have to use a plate on there, so it's pretty low to the bore. I love the flared magwell, or the magwell. Right now I have a 17 round magazine in there. Now I'm going to kind of try and speed this up here because I don't want to make this video too long, but I love the flush fit of the light, and I know there's reasons to have a longer light on there, you know, in case you had to actually use this in a self-defense situation and, you know, push it up into somebody that's attacking you. You know, that can be a not so great thing, which will, I guess, lead me right into my complaints about this gun. So as I had mentioned previously, I had never actually shot a Glock or held a Glock prior to this. And I did go to the store, like I said, and saw one of these. And the first thing I noticed was the grip angle. So again, I started out on 1911s, the 1911, and I didn't even realize this until it was pointed out to me on a YouTube video. But the 1911 and the 2011s have a fantastic grip angle. So there's no canting your wrist to be able to see the sights or the red dot. So I don't know if I already said this, but there's three main things that I don't really like about this pistol. I actually hate these three things. I mean, hate is a strong word, but I hate about this pistol, which I'm going to transfer over to using the PDP Pro for a carry gun. That's the concealed carry gun. That's the whole reason I got that one. But one of them, so one of the things I hate is the grip angle. So if you've never held or shot a Glock, let's see if I can capture this on film without getting my fingers in the way. When I hold a pistol out from a natural point of aim without messing with my wrist angle as such, let's see here. If I were to hold it comfortably, and you can kind of see the red dot, let's see, trying to line this up here. Like just a natural wrist angle, that's how my wrist is. I need to put my wrist down like that to be able to see the red dot. Now, to some people, for as many people that own and shoot Glocks, that's not a big deal, okay? But I can't do this two-handed because I'm holding my phone with one hand, but when I have my left wrist on there, it's even more of an extreme cant forward to hold this pistol properly to shoot it. And what I can tell you is after about 200 rounds, my left wrist is not happy. It does not like that. It's pretty painful, actually. Now, that being said, if you ever find yourself in a defensive situation, are you going to go through 200 rounds to bitch about your wrist? No, you're not. Or if you are, that's a really bad day. So, like I said, take everything with a grain of salt. You know, Glocks, even though this isn't a Glock, have, I guess, really good reliability. However, I've noticed a few times, more than a few times, this thing has failed to go completely into battery. And I don't know if that's an ammunition problem or a gun problem. So, I just don't know. So that's one thing I hate is the grip angle. Cannot stand it. But again, I don't know if I said this earlier, but my hand fits perfectly on this. I mean, my pinky just falls right in that front swell of the magwell there. And my middle finger falls right in this undercut here. So fantastic. Feels great in my hand. Just don't like the angle. I have to cant my wrist to shoot it. The other thing here, I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but I hate the fact that, and this is where a longer flashlight would come into play, if you had to push this up against somebody, it'll take it out of battery and it'll just stay like that. I really do not like that feature. I haven't tried to shoot it like that, but I'm got a pretty good guess that the firearm's not going to operate in that manner, being stuck like that. That being said, I mean, it's you saw it just slip back into place. You know, if you had to pull it away real quick and do that, you could do that, get it back into full battery. But I don't like that. I've tried lubing here really well. I can't really tell where it's catching to get it stuck like that. But I just do not like that feature. But on par with, I said there were 3 things I didn't like. So it was the grip angle, that it can come out of battery like that. The other thing I don't like is, and I'm going to have to unload it because I literally just sat down and pulled this out of my waistband. So hold on one sec. I'm going to unload the firearm. Sorry about this, guys. I just wanted to show you that battery thing. All right, back. The other thing I hate about this pistol is its trigger. Now, I know Shadow Systems had done some design changes in the slide to accommodate these red dots without an optic, and I think that's a good idea. I don't know if you can change out these triggers on the Shadow Systems like you can on Glock. I haven't really seen any videos on YouTube with that being done, so I just don't know. I'm not saying it can't be done, I just don't know. But this trigger sucks. It's so sloppy. Like, you don't notice it too much when you're out shooting, and I guess that's what's really important, but it's got like a lot of take up, and it's not smooth. It's kind of like, they say it breaks in good after about 200 rounds, or the more you shoot it, it breaks in better, but I just don't like it. Like, see, you think you kind of hit a wall there, and then it creeps some more, and then there's the wall there, I think. Yep. And I do not like that, guys. There's such better triggers out there. This is probably the worst trigger I've ever seen or experienced on a pistol. Now, keep in mind, I don't have a whole lot of experience on a different amount of pistols, but I just, there's so much better out there. Now, getting back to the grip angle, and I'll move to the next firearm here. The grip angle is something that, if anybody who's a fan of Glocks, can tell you that can be trained through, and they're absolutely right. Of course you can train through that. You can shoot to your heart's desire. You can dry fire. You can just practice till you get it right, and it just becomes natural. But my thing is, if you have better options out there where you don't have to train through that, where it's just completely natural, where you bring these pistols up and the sights are lined up, I mean, for me all day, that's a no-brainer. Like, I will take that over something like this just because I like the way it looks, you know. So, and looks are important, you know. I mean, of course, the functionality of the firearm, the caliber and all that are very important as well. But, I mean, let's face it, if there was a gun that looked like a fucking banana or something that was incredibly accurate and whatnot, I don't know how many people would buy it just because it looked like a banana. So I know that's a silly analogy, but yeah, I hate that. And I would kind of, as a metaphor, using training through this grip angle, like if you've ever tried to drive a golf ball, you know, like on a driving range, and you've never picked up a golf club, and somebody's trying to teach you how to do it properly, you know, with keeping your left arm straight if you're right-handed, and, you know, trying not to bend it, it just feels completely unnatural. And again, you can train through that, and you can get really good at doing it how it's recommended, but it just does not feel natural. You know, the tendency you'd want to bend both arms like a baseball bat, trying to swing a golf club, but in golfing you gotta keep your left arm straight, apparently. At least that's what I was taught. All right, moving on. I actually bought these two pistols at the same time. I got this one for like my concealed carry, and I got this one for more of a battle belt or duty belt or whatever you want to refer to it as, type thing. I actually was thinking about concealing carrying this too, but it's just too big because I carry a appendix. Now this gun right here has a natural grip angle. When I hold that thing out to, it's hard to capture on camera, but when I hold this thing out to aim, those sights line right up. There's no doing this bullshit here, trying to find the dot or having to train through that. Slide serrations are excellent. It's a little chunky. I don't care for the threaded barrel. I might swap that out later, just because I never plan on suppressing this pistol, because again, it's going to be a concealed carry gun, so there's no reason for me to have a threaded barrel on there. One thing I do like about this is I don't have to really break my grip to release the magazine, which I'm not going to do because I'm trying to do this one-handed, but this extended slide release, this is really cool. You can literally, this weapon is unloaded because I don't carry it, but you can literally just hit this with your thumb. Now what I've noticed is, I shoot how everybody's shooting these days, not the revolver hold, but with your thumbs forward. What I've noticed sometimes is that my this thumb here will rest on the slide release, and at the last, after I've spent my last round, the slide won't lock back, and I've realized that's because my thumb's resting on this and preventing it from locking back. So you can train that by loosening up this thumb a little bit, or maybe bringing it a little higher, but that's what I've noticed with this pistol. Now this does have contours, finger swells, and it's got this bump back here. Got mixed feelings about it. It fits perfectly. What I'm talking about is this right here. Fits perfectly in my hand. It just feels a little awkward, and these swells don't line up with my fingers. Personally, I think, you see when you hold the gun, your fingers kind of almost curve up in this direction as opposed to down. Well, that really looks funky the way I'm doing that. And you can see these swells actually go downward. Now, I don't know if your fingers are meant to fall right in those swells, but if they are, mine don't really do that. However, it doesn't really affect my grip, so I don't mind much. This too fits very well in my hand. You can see the top of the mag well, rest right in my pinky. Same with up here in my middle finger, and yeah, I think this is a pretty good gun. It is more snappy. It's not a hard recoil that's going to hurt your wrist, but it does have a little more muzzle flip just because of the height over bore, which is essentially the distance, how high the bore is. It's higher compared to this one for sure, but I don't really find it impeding while shooting. So really like this gun. Can't wait to get a holster, red dot, and a sight for it. But right now I'm kind of piecing together some other things, so it's just gonna have to wait a little bit. But anyway, not important. I guess I should say one thing about my hand size. I wear about a size medium glove. I can fit large gloves, no problem, but there has a tendency to be extra material at the end of my pinky and my thumbs, and I hate that. So medium gloves tend to fit me pretty well, just as a reference. Now this thing, when I took these out to shoot, the Staccato P and this, I had heard that the Pro had an amazing trigger on it, and yes, I can completely vouch for that. I would say, with the exception of maybe the current released Canik Terran Tactical version, that this is probably the best striker fire trigger you can get on a pistol, at least based on what research I've done on YouTube. And I can show you that here. Again, I've checked this one. Well, I've checked them all. This one has a full magazine in it. This one has an empty magazine, empty chamber, full magazine, empty chamber. But I'll show you this trigger. It is amazing. So a little bit of take up, defined wall, click. It is just phenomenal compared to this. This thing is garbage. So anyway, just wanted to show you that. Let's see, before I move on, is there anything else? Again, I'm not going to get into specs, magazine capacity, all that stuff. I just want to share my opinion on these pistols. Now when I first shot this, And I felt that trigger. I dry fired it before I went out and shot it. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And then I took it out and shot it. I was like, damn, this trigger is amazing. And I actually, because I'm so used to shooting this, I actually popped one off when I didn't mean to. And there's something to be said about that. There's something to be said about this trigger. While it sucks, it does have its benefits, because the fact that you have to travel so far, it gives you that split second opportunity to really think, do I need to pull this trigger? Like, whereas this one, whether it's parasympathetic, I think that's the word, reflex, or just the adrenaline in the moment, this gun's going to go off a lot easier than this one would. So there's something to be said about this trigger. I just don't like it. Okay, moving on. So when I shot this and felt it, I was like, damn, did I just waste a bunch of money on that Staccato? Because this trigger is amazing. Well, let's move on to the Staccato P. I'm happy to report, absolutely not. This gun, this pistol, hands down, is the best pistol I have ever shot. I cannot emphasize enough how awesome this thing is. There's probably better pistols out there, the Pit Viper, the Sand Viper, the Atlas Gunworks, yada yada yada, but I just don't think, I think from like the bar from this to this is immense, like from a $900 pistol to a $2,500 pistol. The quality, the shooting experience, the recoil, the trigger, the capacity, everything about this pistol is phenomenal. And like I said, if the shadow systems is down here, the Staccato P is way up here. Now, some of those other higher end double stack 1911, 2011 style pistols that I mentioned, they're a lot higher in price, but I think the bar is only raised a little bit. I don't know that. That's just my assumption. Like the reward you get out of spending those extra dollars from this to one of those pistols is a lot smaller, like very smaller, I have to imagine, than the reward you get from jumping from this to this. It's a night and day difference. And again, this is a 2011, as you can see. Grip angle, perfect. Zero messing with my cant on my wrist here. Now, this one doesn't fit my hand as good as the other ones, as you can see. It's the magwells, there's some space down there, but with as little recoil as this has, it's not an issue with my grip. I can't explain it, you guys. Like, if you get the opportunity to shoot one of these things, I would recommend shooting a different pistol, such as something like this first, and then immediately jump to this, and you're going to be like, holy shit. Like, it's heavier. That bull barrel there, definitely adds some weight, but it helps with recoil. I just can't explain it, you guys. It's so enjoyable to shoot. I cannot praise this thing enough. It is a beautiful gun. Aesthetically, like this, I think there's nothing wrong with it. I love everything about this pistol. But on top of that, aside from maybe the price, which, could be a con for some, but for me, with what you get for that price, it's totally worth it. If you're on the fence, wondering, should I get this or a striker fire pistol or whatever, if you have the opportunity to shoot one of these things, I'd say go out and do it. But even if you can't, I'd be hard pressed to say that you wouldn't be happy with this pistol unless you grew up on a Glock, or, and you're not used to this manual safety, and you're used to the Glock grip angle. Then you might not be a fan of it. But for me, again, I grew up on 1911s, this manual safety. I love it. It took me a long time to get, because I started out on a 1911, it took me a long time to get comfortable having a striker fire pistol with no manual safety. Again, I said I appendix carry, and I'm just like, God damn, I'm putting a loaded gun pointing right at my, my man parts. I've since gotten over that, but you still have to be careful. You can't get complacent. But still, I feel a lot safer just with a gun with manual safety. And some people complain that this grip safety here is an issue, and they'll put rubber bands and shit on it, or they'll look for guns that have them permanently pinned down or just aren't there. Period. I don't know why that's an issue for anybody, really. I mean, if you have a good grip on the gun, I don't see how you couldn't press that safety while you're gripping it. I just don't see how that's possible. I've never, ever, whether it was the numerous 1911s I've shot, which didn't have this big memory pad here, they were a lot flatter, or this 2011, I have never once had an issue with that. I mean, it just naturally goes in when you grip the pistol. So I don't know why people complain about that. I don't know, maybe their hands are built differently. I just don't know. It's not an issue for me. That being said, so I mentioned this is going to be my new carry gun. I'm just waiting maybe another year, and I'm going to purchase a Staccato CS for both myself and my girlfriend for our EDC, because this is just a phenomenal pistol. I cannot praise it enough. The fact that you get 20 rounds, plus one. In the P anyway, the CS is different. I think it's 16 plus one or 15 plus one, but doesn't matter. That's what I'm used to carrying anyway. So at least not when I'm using the extended mag. I have a 15 round mag. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that, you guys. I hope that if you're a newer shooter and you're just doing your research like I like to do, this has given you some insight. I would recommend, if you don't want to spend that much money, this pistol without the red dot or the light was $900. This pistol, as you see it here, just exactly how this comes, was $800. I would pick this thing all day long over this for the reasons that I mentioned. So again, hope you got something out of this video. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them if it's within my ability to do so. Take care, guys.